Good evening, one and all, and a very warm welcome back to Norwich Talk, where Norwich City have just beaten Birmingham City by 1-0 in a very satisfying win, of course. I'm very pleased with that, I'm not going to lie to you. Super Mario Vrancic coming to the rescue, and I'm sure we're going to see many cases put forward in terms of him starting the next game. I'm not decided yet, to be honest with you, on what side of the fence I'll sit. So I'll sit on it for now. But yeah, what a guy. A very well taken goal. He loves that sort of right-footed goal that goes across goal, doesn't he? He's had a couple of them. But yeah, I think he scored one against Birmingham in the 18-19 season like that as well. Or maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe it was his left foot. Who knows? Who cares? But Mario Vrancic has saved the day, hasn't he? In a performance that was very, very good from Norwich. And I think that 1-0 win, the clean sheet as well, allows us to enjoy and admire that performance that little bit more. I was very much sat there on 80 minutes sort of thinking, right, it's going to be one of those nights, one of those 17-18 nights when Norwich City dominate possession. We had well over 70% possession and walk away with just a point, or very much a case of a smash and grab from Birmingham, which I think at some point we were expecting that to happen, but that's just sort of the in-game pessimist in me. But yeah, he's gone for now, I'll say. But I think we should start with the lineup. The lineup was an interesting one. I didn't really expect Daniel Farke to change the winning side, but the changes that he did make, I understood. And I sort of think Norwich City switched to a 4-4-2 in a sense. In a way, I think Pukki was just allowed to just do what he wanted, which was naturally to go up front. And I tweeted out during the game, he played with a lot more freedom, which was good to see, because there was a lot of weight off his shoulders with Jordan Hugill up top. And in the first half, Jordan Hugill really impressed me. He sort of put himself about quite a lot, but it wasn't just in short spells. He maintained that type of performance throughout, the time that he was on the pitch, which is really pleasing because I wanted to see a bit more aggression from Norwich, and we definitely saw that from Hugill. I think we definitely saw it from everyone today. Max Arrington and Javi Quintilla looked very dangerous down the sides, as they often do. I said before the game, not that it was much of a genius thing to say, but that is sort of Norwich's intent, isn't it, to sort of utilise the wings. And when Quintilla was putting crosses in, I didn't feel fearful, I felt pleased because Jordan Hugill was in the box with Teemu Pukki, as opposed to just Teemu Pukki being there. Sadly, it didn't really work to the extent I think Daniel Farke would have wanted, but it looked promising. There was a lot more zip on Norwich's passes, I think, today, and I think a key man or key player today was probably Lukas Rupp. And the fact that my dad sat there on the sofa and said, yeah, Lukas Rupp's looked pretty good today, I think that says quite a lot, because at the worst of times he's a massive pessimist, and I think he just moans to wind me up. But he said that Lukas Rupp was very good, and I definitely agree. He just looks like what I'm going to describe as a technical operator, which is someone who he's not got bags of pace, he's not this sort of physical presence who's just going to dominate you, but he's very good with the ball at his feet, and now he's in his natural position. I think he can, one, enjoy himself a little bit more, but two, be a bit more comfortable, as opposed to playing out wide where perhaps he can do a job, arguably, but when he's in the sort of centre of the park, he's allowed to just do what he wants to do. And from that game alone, my judgment is that he gets the ball and he goes forward. It reminds me of Tom Tribal when he first came into the team, because he was this guy who was a bit of an emulsifier. He got the ball from the back, played it forward, that was his instinct, and then I think he sort of took up more of the role of the enforcer, didn't he? But Lukas Rupp today was really, really good. He was personally my man of the match, but of course I think it was Danny Higginbottom on comms on Sky Sports, Danny Whitehead, I could not tell you, but he gave it to Todd Cantwell, which I think was probably fair enough in the end as well. He was really, really good today, Todd Cantwell. But yeah, the lineup, I was pleased with it, because I should just sort of finish my thoughts on the lineup. I was really pleased with it. I imagine we'll probably see the same one against, Wickham on Saturday. Wickham's a massive chance for Norwich City to cap off sort of the 9 points. If we can beat Wigan sort of 2 or 3-0 quite comfortably, which touchwood would potentially could happen, then that would sum up the progress in these 3 games that we've definitely wanted to see. Now, I know Norwich have only won the game 1-0, but it didn't really feel like a 1-0, did it? Norwich did just dominate the game. They enforced themselves in the game, and the thing that I constantly said before the game itself was that I wanted Norwich to impose themselves, and I really do think they did that. Buendia looked very good as well. There was a couple of them passes that no one sees but him. And I think there was one to Hugo, there was one to Pukki, and it was really, really pleasing to see that he's at it. And obviously, in the second half, quite late on, I think Scott Hogan had a really good chance to score. I think he sort of did himself with his poor first touch, but Wendy is there to poke the ball away. Thankfully, not give a penalty away, but he's there to poke the ball away, and it's just like, right, we're all in this together at this point. It felt like a very sort of collective effort from Norwich City this evening, which is really pleasing. And there's all this talk about attitude, there's all this talk about mentality, and tonight Norwich's attitude and mentality was absolutely spot on. It was on point, and it's really pleasing for a team that's so fragile at the moment. And I said before the game that Daniel Farke's job isn't as simple as he's got the best team in the league, he should go and win it. I think he's still doing the job of shifting the mentality back to something positive, and tonight is a massive step towards that. Absolutely for me. Grant Hanley looked a little bit unsettled a couple of times, but he was really solid. Ben Gibson was solid. Kintia's crossing was just sublime, and I think that's going to be really, really important in terms of Norwich when they can't play the ball through the middle, having Kintia out wide and Hugo up top. That's going to be the plan B that a lot of fans, including myself at times, were calling for. Ollie Skip was pretty solid as well. There were a few sliding challenges where I thought we've perhaps lacked that before at Norwich City in the past couple of years. I think Teti, for as good as he has been, doesn't really put in many sliding tackles, does he? And Skip's mobility allowed him to be in them positions where he could just slide in and mop up the danger. I was a little bit hesitant when he came off for Vrancic, because I thought maybe if you take him off, you sort of unstick the sticky situation for Birmingham in the middle, if you'll accept that phrasing there. But Vrancic, he obviously came on and scored a wonderful goal. And I think it was mildly fortunate that we got Birmingham got the red card. I do think it was a foul, definitely, probably a yellow, sure. But it was just a case of, could Norwich City take advantage of the situation they have? I'm so pleased they have. That's going to do the confidence, the world of good, because they've put in a really good performance where they've passed the ball really well. They've played high up the pitch. They've not allowed themselves to be bullied on the counter-attack. And the fact that they've won the game and scored, and I think the game finished quite comfortably for Norwich, they're going to perhaps sort of think now, right, we can do this. Daniel Farke's system at the moment seems to be working. As of this game, it did sort of a little bit in the Rotherham game, of course, but the confidence is just going to hopefully shoot up. Not too much, of course, but I think it should shoot up as a result of that game. Adamida came on. He was unlucky not to score where Cantwell had a massive shot blocked at the back post. I think if he swings his foot a split second earlier, he rifles it into the top right corner. But the player I do want to talk about finally is Todd Cantwell. He played really, really well for me today. He proved his worth at Norwich City for me, because in the first half he got involved in the play quite a lot. He was really unlucky not to score. The situation, I can enjoy the fact that he's not squared it. I say enjoy, I can live with the fact that he's not squared it to Pukki or Hugo because we won that game, but I was mildly frustrated. But the fact that he's pressing so high up the pitch, I think he earned the right to take the shot on. And it was a really good save from Etheridge. He made a couple of good saves today, didn't he? Neil Etheridge, I said before the game, I thought he was quite a decent goalie. I think he's made a reputation for himself in terms of just sort of being a typical championship shot stopper, who's a bit of a nightmare for a team like Norwich. But Todd Cantwell today was really, really good. And where he faded out of the game a little bit, where I was sat there thinking, right, can we get Porhetta on? And then went and won a string of fouls, one leading to, I think they 3 yellow cards. One for Adam Clayton, one for the player whose name I don't know, and then one for George Friend. And it's just like, if you're not going to be on the ball and impact the game, you've got to impact it somehow. And he did that massively. And it just relieved a lot of pressure for Norwich. And for me, it shows the sign that Cantwell is worth starting. And I think we'll absolutely see him start against Wycombe. And I'm very excited to see what comes from him between now and January, because, you know, when the transfer window opens, things could swiftly change. But Jesus Christ, I shouldn't have talked about the January transfer window there. But for me, they're my thoughts on Norwich's performance. Again, it's the old phrase, it's something to build on. I think that will do their confidence the world of good. I'm sure you agree. I'm very keen to know your thoughts in the comments down below on this game. As ever, a big 3 points for Norwich. I'm just relieved. That's the first time I've seen Norwich win a game within 90 minutes since Leicester, to be honest with you, because I missed the Rotherham game, I missed the Huddersfield game. So on a personal note, that was just pleasing to watch. And I say pleasing, it was very tense, but by the end it was very pleasing, wasn't it? But yeah, just a really, really good result, but not only a good result, a clean sheet, and just something to really kick on from now. And hopefully we can see an even better performance against Wycombe and really get the season going, because that's when everyone's lives, including Norwich fans, I say mostly Norwich fans, just gets a lot easier, doesn't it? Of course. But yes, As I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you could leave a like on the video, I'd appreciate that quite a lot. If you could subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'd be awesome. So until next time, we'll see you again very, very soon.